There was once a girl named Amina who almost never spoke. She lived in a small town surrounded by hills and quiet streets. Every morning she walked to school with her head down and her books held close to her chest. She was not angry, she was not unhappy, she was just quiet. In class, Amina always sat in the last row near the window. She liked to look outside at the trees moving in the wind. When the teacher asked questions, she often knew the answers. The words were clear in her mind, but when she tried to speak, her throat felt tight, her heart began to beat very fast, and so she stayed silent. Some students thought she was strange, some thought she was proud, but the truth was simple. Amina was afraid. She was afraid that her voice would shake. She was afraid that others would laugh. She was afraid of being seen. At home, things were different. With her mother, she spoke softly while helping in the kitchen. She told her little brother stories before he slept. She sang quietly when she thought no one was listening. Her voice was gentle and warm. It carried kindness. But outside her home, her voice disappeared. One day, her teacher announced something important. "Next Friday," he said, "we will have a school storytelling competition. Each class must send one student to speak on stage." The classroom filled with noise and excitement. Students turned to each other, already choosing who should go. Amina felt her stomach twist. She hoped no one would even look at her. To her surprise, her teacher said, "I have already chosen someone." The room became quiet. "Amina," he said gently, "I want you to represent our class." For a moment, she thought she had heard wrong. Her classmates turned to stare at her. Some looked confused. Some whispered. Amina felt her face grow hot. She wanted to disappear. After class, she walked slowly to the teacher's desk. "Sir," she said in a small voice, "I cannot do it." Her teacher smiled kindly. "I believe you can," he said. "You write beautiful stories. I have read your notebook. Your words have feeling. They deserve to be heard." That evening, Amina could not eat. She could not sleep. The idea of standing on a stage in front of the whole school felt like standing in front of a storm. Her mother noticed her silence. "What is wrong?" she asked softly. Amina finally told her everything. Her mother listened carefully. Then she held Amina's hands. "My daughter," she said, "being brave does not mean you are afraid. It means you try, even when you are afraid." The next day, Amina began to practice. At first, her voice shook even when she was alone in her room. She stopped many times. She wanted to give up. But each night, she tried again. She stood in front of a small mirror. She looked at her own eyes. She spoke one sentence, then another. Slowly, her voice became a little stronger. Friday arrived too quickly. The school hall was full. Students sat in rows. Teachers stood near the walls. The stage lights were bright. Amina's hands were cold. She could hear her own heartbeat in her ears. One by one, students went on stage. They spoke loudly and confidently. The audience clapped and smiled. Then her name was called, Amina Khan. For a second, she could not move, but then she remembered her mother's words. Being brave does not mean you are not afraid. She walked to the stage. The light felt warm on her face. The hall looked huge. So many eyes were watching her. Her throat felt dry. She opened her paper. Her hands trembled. For a moment, there was only silence. She looked up. In the front row, she saw her teacher smiling softly. In the middle row, she saw her little brother waving at her with both hands. And near the back, she saw her mother standing quietly. her eyes full of love. Amina took a slow breath. She began. Her voice was small at first. It almost disappeared into the air, but she continued. Her story was about a tiny bird who was afraid to fly. The bird watched others fly high in the sky. It wanted to join them, but fear held its wings tight. As Amina spoke about the bird, something changed. She was no longer thinking about the crowd. She was thinking about the bird. She was thinking about fear. She was thinking about hope. Her voice grew steadier. She spoke about the moment when the bird finally opened its wings and jumped into the air, not because it was not afraid, but because it was tired of staying on the ground. The hall became very quiet. No one was whispering. No one was laughing. They were listening. When Amina finished, there was a pause. Then the hall filled with applause. It was loud. It was real. It was for her. Amina felt something warm inside her chest. It was not pride. It was not surprise. It was freedom. She walked off the stage with tears in her eyes. Her teacher shook her hand. Her mother hugged her tightly. Her little brother said, "You were like a hero." That day, Amina did not just tell a story about a bird. She told her own story. After that, she did not suddenly become the loudest student in class. She was still quiet. She still loved the last row near the window. But when the teacher asked a question, sometimes her hand slowly went up, and when she spoke, her voice did not disappear. It was still gentle, it was still soft, but now it was brave.